Welcome to our new lesson of CapCut. In this lesson, we are going to learn about crop, pan, and rotate. So, without any further ado, let's just hop onto our lesson by opening up CapCut on our device and just make sure to not skip any part. You can see on my screen that I have opened up CapCut on my device. Now, what I'm going to be doing here is going to be importing my videos again. What I'm going to do is just import the whole folder. And now I'm going to do is just use my videos. So I'm going to filter it out. Now, as I have filtered all of my videos, I'm going to do is just apply any one of these videos, which I have over here. So I'm going to do is just apply it. There we go. And obviously, I'm not going to be needing that long video, okay? So I'm going to do is just keep it somewhere around over here. Okay, 10 seconds is like perfect for me. I'm not going to be needing that long of a video. So 10, there we go. Now, what I'm going to be doing over here is about cropping, rotation, and also panning. So each of them works in a different way and each of them needs different tools. So let's start off with cropping. First off, when you want to crop your video or your media or even your photo in CapCut, first off, make sure to take any of your media which you want to crop into your timeline panel. Now, after you have put your media into a timeline panel, select which one you need to crop. Let's say if I have two of them and I want to crop this one, so you can see that we have an outline on this one. That means this one is selected. So if I click on this crop option or rotate option, this one will rotate, not this one. So what I'm going to be doing is going to be selecting on this. I'm going to do undo the process. I'm going to select this one because I want this one to be cropped up. So select on this one. And then what you're going to do is go up to your toolbar and at the utmost right, you will find this option, crop ratio. Click on that option. Now, after you have clicked on that option, you will basically see an interface like this will appear up on your workspace. Now you can see on each corner, we have these, circles. Well, these are the pointers which you'll be able to drag to fix out your resolution or your ratio. Now you can also use the ones you can see these are a bit longer. You'll be able to fix out the axis on the horizontal and vertical or X and Y axis. You can fix out your X axis. You can fix out your Y axis on whichever direction you want. Now, one of the most important thing over here is about the crop ratio. Now, there are certain people who will need certain aspect ratio. Let's say most of the people who use are, most of the people just use 16:9, 16:10, okay? But there are also a couple of, presentations which are done on 5:3, 4:3, okay? And there are other ones too, which is 1:1, all of those. Now, how will you be able to apply that? Or how will you be able to, crop it up just the way you want it to be? So for that reason, you have this option over here at the bottom of this pop-up or this workspace. You can see on the crop ratio, it's set to free. Now, if you click on this free, you can see right beside our free, we have this arrow key. Click on that arrow and you will find out different type of resolutions or aspect ratio to select from. Now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, there are, a couple more on Filmora, but this also gives you a very nice, touch to this tools. So if you want a square one, you can click on 1:1. You can see you get a square. If you maybe want, something like this, you can apply 3:4, 4:3, and then we have 16:9, and then the last one is 9:6. You can apply whichever one you want, whichever meets up your criteria. So find out the one which you want to use. And the advantage of using these ratios is that you get to fix it out or you get to, fix the safe spot for each and every aspect ratio. So let's say you are going to present it or you want your audience to see it on a phone. Then what are you going to do? Obviously, you should select 16:9, which will be the perfect aspect ratio. Even though the outside parts are, out of, this aspect ratio or the crop, but yet, if you want the best resolution, if you want the best aspect ratio, select it up. And the advantage of using that is because that you will not be able to customize it just the way you want to. Even if you are, moving it, you will basically see that the size or the ratio will be the same. So you will not be able to use it in a freeform. Let's say if you have any selected aspect ratio, but you want to fix any angle on any, let's say axis. Let's say I want x-axis. I will not be able to increase it. I'll be able to decrease it, but the y-axis will also be decreased at the same time. You can see this is how it works. Okay. If I try the other one, let's say 16:9. If I reduce it, it will just reduce it on both angles. Okay. Or both axes. I will not be able to fix out only one. All of them will reduce at the same time. You can try each and every one of them, find out the one which meets up your criteria, and then apply it. Now, another thing is that when you are using free, you will also be able to, find out which aspect you're using. You can just try it out. You can apply any one of them and it will be over there. Well, this is a bit different from Filmora, so you just have to fiddle through each and every one of these options. Then we also have this player, which you can see on every frames on how it is working. Okay. And then one of the things you have to learn over here is that if you are presenting your presentation on old projectors, what you have to do is try to select maybe 4:3 because there are a couple of projectors which, prefer or which use 4:3 as a resolution. If you are using 16:9, you will basically see a couple of the parts will just, get stretched up or condensed and, lost in pixels. So try using 4:3 if you are using an old projector and even if you're using an old monitor. Then we also have the rotation over here. Now what you're going to do is you have this option right beside the crop ratio. Just select on this rotation and you will basically see the angle over here. If you want to rotate on the left, you will basically see it will go on the minus value. If you want to rotate it on the right, it will go on the plus value. So let's say I'm going to do is just keep it on 0 or maybe something like this. You can also fix it out just like this. There are a couple of methods of how you'll be able to rotate up your video. Okay. I'm going to do is just type in 0 over here. There we go. Perfect. Now, another thing of how you'll be able to, change the rotation of your video is going through the numbers. You can type in your number. Let's say I want 45 degrees. Enter. There we go. 45 degrees. You can change up your aspect ratio too. You can also increase the size. There we go. Now, if I want maybe 50 degrees, this is how it will look. If I want maybe 180 degree, this is how it will look. And even if I want to go on a minus value, I can also type that minus 20 degrees. There we go. So basically, this is how you'll be able to rotate it. And you can also use these buttons to rotate it. If you are seeing that, you cannot use the slider that well and you don't want to type it in either, let's say you want to go a couple of rotations back, you have to type in, let's say, 178. So you can either use these buttons over here. You can just reduce it. There we go. 178. Perfect. You can also reduce it more. You can also increase it up to 180. Okay. And you can also see the angle over here. So basically you are done with it. So I'm going to do is just type in 0. So here we go. We have 0 degrees. Now, if you have done any mistakes or if you don't want any of, the effects or any of the changes which you've applied on your video, just click on this reset button and it will go back to however it was. So let me just show to you 4:3. I'm going to type in 54. Click on reset. There we go. It will just get back to how it was by default. And after you're done, just press on confirm. There you go. It will get back to how it was. Let me show it to you just by cropping it a bit. Let me just put in 4:3, confirm. There we go. We have our 4:3 video. What I'm going to do is just delete the other one. Now, as we have our video done, you can also go back and fix in your ratio again. Click on the video, go off the crop, and you can basically see which one or which, ratio you are using and how did you, make changes. Because it will use it as a copy. It will never, just remove that part. So you can obviously go back and get it back to its default self. And you can also see the ratio option over here. You'll be able to use more ratios. So I'm going to show it to you. Okay, you can see you can magnify it. It's basically up to you. Let me just show it to you later on. You can see this is how it will look. If you want to get a bigger preview, I'm going to just increase the size. There we go. Now, if you want to pan it, you can also do it. But let me just show it to you again. If you want to rotate your video, you want to go through a whole different tool. We have a whole different tool on the toolbar. You can see the rotation option over here. You'll be able to rotate your video without even getting into, the cropping workspace. So you can just click on that. It will just keep on rotating and it is not limited up to, 180 degrees. You will just go over and over. You can see it is now 1800. You can just click on that and it will keep on rotating. Okay. So basically now you know how you'll be able to rotate it up. You can also mirror, but I'm going to show it to you later. Okay. So there we go. We have these options over here. Now you can also fix in your ratio from over here. This is the original one. You can also customize it the way you want to. Let's say I can change it to whichever ratio you want to use. Ratio and cropping or resolution all comes together. So I'm going to show it to you. Now, on default, you have 1920 to 1080. What if you try to put in on 1376 and 765? Press on save, multiples of 2. There we go. Now it has zoomed in a bit. And this is basically how it will look. Now you can see that I'm using a whole different resolution. Okay. So you'll be able to, customize it. And there is also different ratios which you'll be able to use. 4:3, 2.35. Then we also have 2.1. We also have different ones. 1:1, 5.8 inch. Just try whichever meets up your criteria. So these are basically for phones and tablets, and these are basically for your devices like PC, laptop, TV, even tablets sometimes, okay? So try using it out and fix out your resolution. If you have a higher resolution and you want to scale it down a bit, you'll also be able to do it just like I've shown you. Click on that, click on custom, and fix out your, resolution from over here. And you can also fix out your aspect ratio from this settings too. Okay, so go through these options and then you will also be able to fix in your FPS. Let's say I want 60 FPS. I'm going to save it up and it will increase up my FPS on the video. It will stutter a bit at first because it will load up the whole thing and apply the more frames by using motion. So try fiddling through these options. Okay, now as we are basically done with crop and rotate, let's go off to panning. Now, how will you be able to pan in CapCut? In Filmora, it is very easy because you can find it on the crop section. But if you want to pan in CapCut, you have to do it manually. Now, how do you do it? First off, make sure to find out the frame where you want to start the pan. So I'm going to start it from over here. Now, make sure you have this basic platform opened up. Now from here, what you're going to do is use keyframes. Now I have a whole different, specific lesson just for keyframes. So make sure to watch it. So what I'm going to do is just apply this keyframe over here. And I'm going to do is just go over here. And then I'm going to do is just zoom in. There we go. And then if I play it out, you can see that it has panned in. Okay, so this is basically how you'll be able to use pan and zoom in CapCut. And there, you can also make it smoother by applying more effect to it. You can apply some animations. You can apply, smoothness to it. Okay, so try using these options. Try making it a bit, slower. Or you can also apply this keyframe a bit later so that it is, a lot less, or this is a lot slower. You can see this is basically how it will work. So hope you understood everything about this lesson, and still if you have any question about any part of the lesson, feel free to ask me. I'm always there to help you. And another method which I'm going to be showing you of how you'll be able to rotate is over here. You can see the rotate option. You can do this over here. You can use this. You can also type in your number 0. You can also use this axis or this circle over here to rotate it just the way you want to. Just have to rotate it. You can rotate it back. There we go. Perfect. And you can also rotate it from over here too. So thank you for watching this video up till the very end again. And just like I said, make sure not to skip any part. And if you have questions, feel free to ask me. So let's move on to our next lesson of CapCut.